Welcome to Creators Blueprint.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Creators Blueprint, where we talk about unnecessary stuff and design. I'm here with the best of the best, of course, Rob, aka Foul Matter.
Hey everybody.
And my boy Oscar.
Hi everybody, aka Oscar Lima .design at on Instagram.
And yours truly, Dennis, designed by Dennis.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
Today I'm feeling. I was pretty tired. I didn't really get a good night's rest, but that's not out of the norm.
Like literally every night.
That's every day.
Why is that? A lot of Fortnite?
No, not a lot of Fortnite. Actually, it's just
Apex Legends.
It's just the sleeping schedule gets messed up, and then just can't sleep, and then just go on a tangent on your phone, and that's just how it is. But we're improving slowly.
I know that's not a main topic for discussion today, but I want to just want to quickly speak on that point. I think it's really easy to get caught in like a cycle where and I've noticed this for myself. I've been going to sleep average time around 1 a.m. only to have to wake up at like 5:30 in the morning for work, and it's
very bad.
It's tough. Like 2-3 p.m. stretch, I'm like falling asleep at my desk. It's not good. It's not good at all.
Do you guys like to take naps?
I mean, I would if I could, but I
like right after you get off work, get home, just take a quick 20-minute nap.
Those quick naps, I know they work for some people, but I just never felt like they worked for me.
Like for me, like if I were to do it, I get lazy afterwards.
If I'm gonna sleep, I want to sleep.
Yeah.
Like
I'm in the contrary, because I could either take a 8-hour nap, or I could just take a 20-minute nap, and once I'm done with the nap, I'm energized. I could do whatever I want without wanting any rest right after, and I could just go up to like 2-3 in the morning with that one nap, 20-minute nap.
But then you won't feel tired if you go to sleep at late, and then you wake up early.
I can't
sleep. And then I wake up early and I'm like refreshed.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, yeah. I guess that's cool.
So what are we talking about today?
You can. I mean, someone else.
All right. So I think today we're gonna. I think we want to talk today about. Okay. So wait. As a recap.
I want to mention to the audience that we upgraded our equipment.
Oh yeah,
as you can see, our quality. We invested a few $100s into these mics, this mixer, and yours truly, designed by Dennis, knows how to mix audio. So yeah, we upgraded. So today we're gonna be talking about streetwear from Oscar Lima. That design. He's whispering. I don't know. He's whispering, but he's whispering.
Sorry, guys. I think Dennis is out of frame, and I'm just trying to make sure that he's not missing. I mean,
Rob could change the camera real quick.
Just move it to the left, a little bit, just a little bit. Sorry for this.
Yeah, well, we're putting the podcast up on YouTube, and
that's it. They're gonna be off now. Yeah, it's
right there. Yeah, we put the podcast up on YouTube, and we're going to start putting it on Podbean.
So it's going to be spread out through, iTunes, Spotify, and all that. All those media.
Streams.
All those streams, yeah.
So you can stream it anywhere, anytime, because this is for you guys, creators.
Yep.
And today's creator, we're going to be I'm trying
to start this already.
Okay. So, to recap, last time we talked with me about my blueprint and what I like to do, and then we went on some other to cover some other topics. Today we're going to talk with
my name is Oscar Lima. Well, just say my name is Oscar, and I'm a footwear designer. That's basically what I am right now. But overall, that's what I'm at. Yeah.
Well,
that's a nice podcast.
But
that's a nice what?
So okay, but like footwear design is like a subcategory of industrial design.
I was gonna like
True
go
or
into-
false, or I mean, okay,
I was
because
gonna
your
go into the
background is
beginning.
your
So-
background is industrial, but
All right, so we're talking about my
like, what's the difference?
Like, what's your origin?
what's
Where'd
my
you
origin? What's
Where'd
my
you start off in?
what's my blueprint?
Your blue.
My blueprint. All right. So you guys want to know how I started or how I got into it or like how my forward?
like both, like everything.
Start from high school. What made you go into industrial design?
Uh-huh.
And yeah, come from there.
So in high school, I was one of those students that try to do good in school. Obviously, I think I did well, but then when it came down to like picking a major, I really did not have like that focus of I want to go into whether it was engineering, business, nursing, communications, and etc. It wasn't until like senior year I had to take art class because it was an elective, so I took it. And when it came time to, I guess, pick our majors, like for a lot of schools, I was picking business management. That was like for every school I like applied to.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then it just so happened that I applied to NJIT, and NJIT I applied for architecture. So I did that, and I went to their open house, and through that I saw that I might say some things that might offend our architect right next to us, but all I'm saying is when I went to it's maybe because like it wasn't my preference, So I went into like the architecture open house, and I saw that it was a lot about mathematics, physics, like all that stuff, right?
I can I just say something quickly?
But
about
that's what it at least showcased.
I feel like there's this common misconception that architecture is very mathematics heavy, but it's not at all. And you're not the first person to say, oh, I didn't go into architecture because I'm not good at math or anything. Like, you do not need to be good at. Believe me, you do not need to be good at mathematics to do good in architecture. But
why is that?
Because architecture is not math heavy. Architecture is design. It's
crazy.
I mean, math is one part to it, yeah, but that's definitely more of
fundamental.
the engineering side, and we know people that are on the civil engineering side, but they could talk more about the mathematics that go behind an architectural design. In architecture, the architect, I feel like he's more of the the composer. He composes the entire image. He has the vision, and the people. He's the composer composing the orchestra, and the orchestra consists of the contractors, designers, engineers, other professions. The mechanical people, etc. So, electricians, whatever. The architect, I think, first and foremost, his main skill should be to properly know how to execute a vision, how to have a vision. So math is good to know it, but I don't think it's 100% essential. Like,
I got a question. For you to become an architect, would you have to learn the laws? Like laws,
like state laws, like
state laws,
regulations.
Like, regulations.
Yeah, so that becomes part of the process on becoming a legal architect. So I just graduated last spring. I'm kind of in this weird point in my career where if people ask me what I do for a living, what I am, I guess I'll just say, oh, I'm an architect, but legally I'm not an architect. It'll take probably 2 to 3 more years on average until I get my legal license. I have to take a couple exams first, complete a certain number of hours.
So you're faking it till you make it.
I guess that's one way to put it. I mean, there's a whole process to go through to legally become an architect. We have a friend. He studied civil engineering.
You're not gonna name drop again. Be careful with that. We got a lot of
our friend.
Slack.
I don't know if
maybe we'll get him on the podcast one day and he'll talk from that
Edison.
side.
Edison is a civil engineer by education, just like I'm an architect by education, but we're not legal.
Well,
we're not professional. We're not professional engineers and architects yet.
That's
what we're working on, right? But if he wants to discuss his blueprint, he will in the future. But anyways, yeah. So in the process of becoming an architect, you will have to learn the laws and sometimes they vary state to state, codes, regulations, what you can do, what you can't do. But as a professional architect, you have the ability to legally sign off on construction documents. So those are your technical drawings, the specifications of a project. And once you legally sign off, you are legally responsible for that project. So it's legally binding. So you have to be careful.
It's
of
very
course.
intense.
You have to definitely be careful. So yeah, there is a lot of legal stuff and business stuff involved.
That's the reason why I become an architect. I wanted to become an architect before I wanted to become an industrial designer.
I think
those laws, and I heard that you have to like read a lot, and I'm not a good reader.
So
architecture combines a little of everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
So wait, this is about Oscar's orange.
I'm trying to get to what happened.
Wait. I just want to say one last thing.
Okay.
I feel like I've come into contact with a lot of people that say they wanted to do architecture at one point or another, but then they discover something that more suits them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason for that is because architecture, I think, is a very overall encompassing field that has a lot of different sub parts to it, which is why I feel like a lot of people might be interested in it initially, because it has something for everyone. But then once they get into the specifics, then they'll find something that they're more specifically inclined to. That's why I feel like a lot of people might say they were interested in architecture at some point or another, because it has something for everyone. Okay, so
all right, let's go back to
so
us.
as we go back to the topic, where I was at. So yeah, and NJIT was very like science and math heavy.
Very technical,
they
right?
took like exams every 3 months at the time, something like that. Remember? I don't know if you remember that.
I went to one of their architecture open houses.
Yeah, and they were like very like, you gotta have these type of standards and all that stuff. And like, I could have worked hard to do it, but what happened was, as I was at this architecture open house, we kind of ran into the industrial design major that they had in NJIT. And that's when I kind of saw that it was like products. Like, initially it was like, I could design for Apple, like their headphones, their phones, speakers, like all that stuff. Like that's when that idea came.
So like industrial design is like architecture,
but smaller scale.
That's true. Yeah,
everything but houses and bridges.
It's architecture at the smaller
scale. It's like smaller details that you have to worry about. Yeah. So that's what happened there. Then I looked into like schools that had industrial design, found Montclair, very close to home, save money, commute. That's what I thought of. And also like I was very late to the process of signing up for this major. And like there's schools like Pratt, which Robert went to, but I didn't have a portfolio, so it was pretty tough. But I was able to get into Montclair State based off grades, and then the director there, he gave me like a project to do in like a week, and
so you didn't have a portfolio yet?
No, they had no portfolio, no experience. But to kind of like give you a small background, like growing up, I used to draw a lot, so it wasn't like I just hopped into it like
coming out of nowhere.
Like
so
I had some sort of hand to it, and so when I got to Montclair, in 1 week I did like 8 drawings, and then met with the director again, and then he allowed me to get inside the major, and that's when I just started with the idea that not the idea, but I was basically an industrial design major, studying that and trying to like lead into becoming like the next like Johnny Ive, because like he was like pretty big, and he's still pretty big now, but that was it. Where else should we lead into this? Like where I got into footwear?
Yeah, where did you get into footwear?
So 3 years in, okay, so at my school, very, it's a good school, there's just like things, I guess, that were not talked about. A lot of, I don't want to like go in on them, but basically like, I did not know that soft goods was an option, and I don't think many of us did, as Dennis King.
Yeah. It was very conservative design. We were taught hard goods, consumer products,
even tractors,
watches,
the big machine, the Ingersoll Rand machines.
Yeah, we worked with Ingersoll.
Wait, so what's a hard good versus a soft good?
Okay, a hard good is consumer products like toasters, laptop, anything hard. I mean, out of plastic, basically.
Okay.
Components inside.
So like literally like hard.
Yeah, like it's literally hard goods.
Like
soft
goods.
Right.
Soft goods is book bags,
anything soft.
Well,
okay.
Clothing,
soft good. Yeah. clothing, bags,
Yeah, it's
footwear.
It's like
Okay.
once you got into industrial
Oh,
design,
I see.
Yeah,
industrial design itself breaks down to a lot of subcategories.
it's like every major.
And and Oscar chose to go the software direction, which was not taught in Montclair State.
So the story behind that is that I went to IDSA. I think it was sophomore year. Yeah, I went sophomore year, and like there when you go to IDSA, I would think that for industrial designers, I think it's a really good I guess event to go to because you're able to see your competition and what you're going against when you're applying to all these firms. So I would suggest going to that. But I went there and I had a friend actually that was interning at New Balance, and should we name drop?
No, we shouldn't name drop.
All right.
You could.
No, so I had a friend that was interning at New Balance, and like he would show me his sketches, and like it was really cool, you know. Like sketches in general are cool, but like when you saw footwear and the way they laid out their sketches and like their storytelling ability, it was very like I just was very fascinated by it, and I did like shoes growing up. I was not a sneakerhead because I never bought excessive shoes, but you know I had a few pairs of Jordans, and I thought like I would like to see my shoes worn by others, and that's initially when I focused on it, sophomore year, and then you know, junior year came along, and we weren't like in school. We're not really like we weren't allowed to pick our own projects, so it was until senior year that I like focused on a footwear project so that I would have something to show employers when I went out to apply.
I feel like not picking your own project is a huge flaw in the school system for design.
It's tough.
I
Well,
see that.
I mean,
we should be able to pick our own projects like on our junior year, honestly.
yeah, that makes sense.
At least in my experience, the projects are pretty set in stone in the first 3 years. Beginning in our fourth year, there was a set of projects that you could choose from. Each professor had a different brief and a different kind of direction that they wanted to explore. And it got really diverse. Like some people weren't even designing buildings; they were designing like machines, like small scale robotic machines.
Mm-hmm.
Some were large scale, like urban planning, which is what I tended to gravitate towards. So there was a lot of variation. And then thesis, of course, is where you actually, set out to find your own project.
I feel like having a structured program where you can't select can be good as long as
I think it's good and bad.
No, it could be good and bad because like maybe you're gonna be designing something that you're not even planning to do when you graduate. But
that's why I feel like you have to give the students some time to know what the program is at first.
At first, I think having set projects is good at first.
Sophomore year, they know what to do.
Exactly.
You follow the regulations.
Yeah. A good variation too of what you can do, like all that stuff.
Yeah, and then by the time we get to junior year, you know more about the major.
You would hopefully have like carved out something for yourself.
Hopefully, you've done research by your own side. Hopefully, and
you should.
That you can begin establishing your own views on design and what you like, what you dislike, your own direction, your own blueprint, so to speak, and then.
And then see where you're leaning more towards.
Right, yeah.
And by junior year, you should, the teachers or professors should give the students an opportunity to pick their own projects so they could actually like work on that field once they graduate.
Yeah.
I think it's even especially with industrial design, like with you guys, I feel like it would be even more restrictive if you guys have set projects. I remember you were telling me one time, what was that semester that you had to design like a stand for like tools?
Well, let's not mention the company, but
right. Let's keep the company anonymous.
There was also a watch company that we had to design for.
Right.
Like it was a really cool brand, and but the brand that they chose for us, our class, we didn't have that much room or imaginative concepts that we could work with.
It was like
because
I think that's pretty unfortunate.
No, because like it's like they came in and they said you're designing a watch for this brand. And this consumer, like that's it. Like that's it. It's a watch.
And he told us, all right, you can only use this font, this movement. You can only use these types of straps, and we were left with like no room.
You basically.
So yeah, the certain company didn't give us any room to design, which was very disappointing. And which sucks is that they gassed this project up from the beginning of freshman year.
Yeah, I mean, like at our school, this project was in partnership with like a brand that was that is like very, I mean, big in the watch space, I guess. So this is basically the biggest project at the time that was.
It's basically the biggest project at our time, and we were just constricted with our designs.
Yeah.
But we made the most out of it, and
I mean, it's a good portfolio piece to showcase your like rendering skills with Keyshot, because we had to like make our stuff out of in SolidWorks and stuff like that. So it was really good for showcasing that ability, and then your sketching ability, and then your
and for the and moving on to the second semester of our junior year, we had to design a case.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
a display case for
tools, right?
For tools for this other certain company.
Sorry, that was bad.
We basically spent a whole semester designing a box, and it was very unprogressive to any of us. We were basically drawing boxes all semester, and we each knew what we had to do. What we wanted to do.
I remember you telling me about that when you were doing it. It was like such a drag.
Like we had so much time during that semester that we each picked our own side projects to do to start putting it into our portfolios. And yeah, it was just very disappointing. And we spent all that money, our own tuition money, for this for this display case.
Tuition is not cheap, so. Yeah, it was tough. I mean, the whole concept was to design a stand that would go implemented into jobber trucks, which is, basically a truck that has a store inside of it that goes to mechanic shops and then sells drills, power drills, and then a bunch of other mechanic tools. And our goal there was to design a stand that would showcase a power drill in the best possible way
I have a question. Do you think they chose these projects out of educational merit, or because they had partnerships?
I think definitely do have partnerships because I did overhear a certain person talk to this other certain person about this certain company about some guap that was going into the school program.
So that would make sense.
And that's how we got our 3D printers.
Rumor alert.
Because otherwise, why would they make you do such a boring project? Like, you do not go to school to learn how to do that. I'm sorry, but you just don't. So
how these partnerships I think work is that, these companies and all these companies, what they do is they try to get like an outside perspective, and the most creative way to go about it is to hit people that haven't been in the industry and like restricted to like all these like basically regulations. So the best way is to go to schools, offer them a bit of money, and then have their students who have like a creative open mind
basically steal our ideas
and like get influenced, and then like the kids basically influence the people that are at whatever company they're designing at. And that the company benefits, and then the school benefits, but then at the same time, the student
is stuck doing labor that they don't even want to do, stuff they're not even interested in. The student's
creative direction suffers.
Yeah.
I mean, so like that whole junior year was very like it was very long, draining, and tiresome because at the end of it, we had to like come up with our own portfolio pieces to like add on to our portfolio so that we can
showcase and that itself was a project in junior year to make our own portfolio, and we all came out with the same portfolios with the same projects but like different concepts, and it wasn't
I would say that's dangerous.
It's dangerous
because it's dangerous because, well, assuming you guys all applied to different jobs, it's fine. But what happens if you guys are applying to similar positions? Like, there's going to be a lot of overlap.
We all do.
Will be like, hey, I've seen this before. Oh, it's literally the same project again and again and again.
It's just a matter of like who has like the skill and who showcases it better.
Which might be unfair because it might just be a project that someone is just not going to
Try it.
not going to want to do, and if you don't want to do a project, you can't necessarily get your creative energy behind it. So of course the design is going to suffer because your heart's not in it.
But obviously, like as you're the designer, you're the person that could pick what project goes into your portfolio. If you think it's not up to standard, you don't have to just put it in. Like I would suggest like 2 to 3 projects in your portfolio when you go apply to places, and make sure they're your like good projects that showcase all your skills that you have listed in your resume, and that should be well enough to get you at least a step into the direction you want to lead.
How do you feel that portfolios might be outdated at this point, and it's all about websites?
I mean, if you want to go the website route, I mean, you should have a website and a portfolio, and your portfolio should be on your website.
Yeah.
That takes care of it, in my opinion.
So nowadays, like I mean,
it might be different for
when we were in school, which is not long ago. We probably were in school like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, we're recent grads,
so it's not like we're talking from like.
We're no professionals. We're young people just starting,
aspiring
professionals starting a podcast, and we're just gonna talk about our struggles and what we think about it.
Yeah. So I would. What was I getting with this?
Portfolio versus website.
Yeah. So like, what I would suggest. Oh no! Like I said, back in our time, we were taught to like print out.
In my day.
Back in our time, like 3 years ago, we were taught to like print out.
Literally produce a physical portfolio, which I think has become more outdated. Like in my job interview, sorry to cut you off, but in my job interview, I
lose my train of thought.
I brought my laptop. I didn't even bring this laptop. I brought a Mac, my younger sister's Mac, because I thought it was sleeker and it's a little bit more lightweight. Sorry, but it's. So I brought that.
Looks like you're holding a brick over there.
Pretty much. I showcased my entire portfolio on my laptop that I brought that day. And I just put the laptop in front of my 2 interviewers, and I just scrolled through it and talked about what was on the screen. A physical portfolio, I mean, assuming your portfolio, in my opinion, should be a living, breathing document that should never be finalized. I mean, I think it's a consistent, constant evolution. So to have a printed out version, it's prone to become outdated very quickly, especially if you're very active in your own personal projects. So I don't think it makes sense anymore, and I think the profession has caught on to that. So websites and digital output is definitely much more convenient, and it's definitely easier.
I was gonna say, like, even like if when you go to an interview, like just for yourself, you look more professional when you have like a laptop and then you have the PDFs open there,
all ready to go.
All ready to go,
pre-open, preloaded, pre-open.
If you have like an iPad, a tablet, like nowadays, like you could still come in. You could still come in with your tabloid 17x11 paper, but
it's very outdated.
It's very outdated.
In my opinion, I think something that's still good to have printed out are copies of your resume and your cover letter.
Of course.
When I went to my interview for my current job, what I did was I had individual little folders where I put a copy of my resume and my cover letter, and I slipped it in there, and I had like 10 folders. I only needed like 2 or 3 because there was 2 people interviewing me. So before they gave me a few minutes to prepare in the conference room before they came in, I laid out 2 folders with my cover letter and my resume, and then I had my laptop ready with my portfolio open, ready to go for me to talk about. I think that's like a good
that's the standard, basically.
Yeah, that's
that you should be following. You have something to say?
No, I just say, in my preference. Well, aside from Rob's perspective, that I feel like websites are much more up to date than portfolios, due to the fact that when you apply to jobs through a website, you can't upload a portfolio at all.
Definitely, you can.
Which
you're given
sucks.
like 5 megabytes of
and then you try to compress the file like 4 times,
Yeah,
and
and
the
it comes
image
out
is
looking like
yeah,
fucking
so pixelated and shitty,
It's
and
terrible.
so yeah, that's why I'm not even updating my portfolio at this point. I just update my website, and from that website, you could just look at my Instagram at the sketches that I do, and I could put way more stuff and way more steps and tell the story better through a web page than a compressed PDF file.
Because
And when I when I went to the interviews, I just have the tabs open for each project, and I just scroll down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's much better.
What I would say also is when you apply to like big or like all these places, sometimes it takes months, you know, for them to like review your stuff. With a website, you have the advantage of updating your stuff, and like when you send in a PDF and you attach it to your application, like that's it. Like you're not gonna be updating that. So with the advantage of a website, which you could get for cheap if you're like very like tech savvy, you just go and you look at it and you'll find something very cheap, and it's just better because then you can update it, and obviously you're gonna keep updating, so you have that advantage.
Because I think at a certain I would hope that companies treat whatever you're submitting in the initial application that is considered a work sample or portfolio, whatever, like the 5 MB capacity, that submission as a preview to like a fuller submission that might happen in the in-person interview. Because at that point, you're literally reducing your work to the quality of like fucking JPEG screenshots. So, and I literally, like, it rips me apart inside to see my work be reduced to that kind of quality. Like, I can't take it. Whoa. So, with that being said, I think that it's just a preview, but yeah, submit it, and then once you get to the in-person interview, then just go all out, just do your thing, have everything ready, the highest quality shit you can have, and just, that's when you really go all out.
I mean,
we had a professor where she told us to do sample portfolios. And it's not the way to go because you get no callback from anybody.
Well, what's a sample?
So it's basically what you said.
Like a work sample, or
it's your portfolio. It's your portfolio,
like
but condensed.
So like into like a few pages.
Yeah. Like max 2 pages a project.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, that really I really didn't get anything out of it.
That's not meant to. You can't. I mean, yeah, that's just literally, in my opinion, what I show in my work sample is okay. I can do this, this, and this. Like, literally, it's a visual collection of my skills that I list on my resume.
Yeah, it's very important to
literally
showcase
just.
that.
It's showing what you can do, but it's not telling your story. That's what your portfolio is for, to tell the story behind your website. Or your website, yeah. You're not going to be able to do that in a 2 or 3 page work.
And you know what's interesting? So, like, I would upload my portfolio. Well, like, recently, I uploaded a portfolio to these websites, and I didn't get anything. But as soon as I put in my link to the website, I would be getting emails back, which is kind of interesting.
Right.
So that's why I'm thinking that websites are the new wave, and we should all, as a collective, ditch portfolios.
We've been on this topic for a minute.
So it's
basically, websites are the way to go.
This would be a great segue if we were sponsored by like Squarespace.
Well, we're not. We won't mention them already, but you know.
Because I think the websites give you the liberty to arrange your projects whichever way you want.
I mean,
and you have no limit.
Let's try to like wrap this topic. But yeah, Squarespace is really good. This is not a promotion, but like it's very like simple for you to put together. You don't have to have a lot of experience.
Why would you say that?
What? What do you mean?
We're not getting paid.
We're not getting fucked. Okay, forget
it. Let's just go. Okay, back to.
I don't know what you should use, but whatever.
back to Oscar.
The new plan is only however.
No, we'll stop talking about Squarespace. We're not seeing dollar signs. So like, let's move out of this.
We're not sponsored.
All right.
Like patient.
Okay.
Right. One step at a time. So where we at?
Oscar, New Balance kid, shoes.
Oh yes, New Balance kid shoes, and then senior year came, and then I focused on a senior thesis that surrounded. Sorry, I keep saying sorry. So it's surrounded around footwear. You know, I came with the idea of designing like a cleat that would be able to be interchangeable within climate
different climates, whether it was muddy outside or dry outside. So it was like a cleat that could basically that the user can change according to what the weather was, and so they didn't have to have two different styled cleats.
Do you have a link to that project?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. OscarLima.com. If you want to go there, and if you click through, you'll see it. You see it there under my projects. You should be able to find it there. But through there you could see like the evolution from sketches to where the idea came from and how it got finalized and how it would look on the field. So that was the overall. I mean, I guess direction with that. And so, like, I came a senior year with the focus of trying to be more experienced in footwear industry. And going into senior year, all I had was this footwear project. So, from the graces of everything, I was able also to land a position into Pencil New Balance's masterclass that happened mid senior year, right?
Yeah, during winter break.
During winter break, you know, we didn't take a break, you know, no days off,
single day off.
Pencil at the time was something that everyone that I know was trying to aim towards too, because, you know, it led you into an opportunity where you got to collaborate with a brand, and at the same time learn from a very talented ex-Jordan design director, Dwayne Edwards, name drop. So it was like December, you know, I saw the ad for Pencil, and basically all it was is to design a shoe for their running category and then make a video showcasing it and then talking about why you want to be part of this masterclass. Shout out to Robert, because Robert actually, you know, he came over, remember? He came over.
Oh man, that was a great day. That was on Black Friday 2016. I still remember it.
Yeah.
It was a great day. We came up with a script. We figured out how we want to shoot it, and we kind of put it all together.
It was pretty nice. Day. You could find that on OscarLima.com.
That was a productive.
You can find all this on OscarLima.com, or you could YouTube it. You know.
Wait, you have a YouTube video? You still have that up?
That's up right
essentially
there.
like your audition, right?
Yeah, it's my audition, and you'll see a lot of people.
We're probably gonna have that on the link description
link
below.
Yeah.
Link it below.
Yeah. So that happened. I got in with my submission, and I was able to go there with amongst 24 other designers. That whole experience opened my eyes. You know, all these people, all these designers that went. Super talented, like right now, like people that they're working at, like the people I was with at that time, like people are working at Puma, people are working at New Balance, people are working at, you know, I think maybe Nike for some, and like when you go to this Pencil class, like you're able to see how I guess your competition is, and also learn from everybody else as long as you're open minded and you know don't have like an ego. Like, you go there, and, like, I learned so much. I came back motivated. And for me, I feel it was one of the most pivotal, for design-wise, it was one of the most pivotal experiences that led me into, like, focusing fully into footwear. And that's when I came back and finished off my senior year and then focused on landing a job.
Would you say that Pencil did more to you than Montclair State?
Damn. I would say that by the time I went to Pencil, I had a direction of where I wanted to go with design, and I knew I wanted to do footwear. So with that opportunity, since I already knew what I wanted to do, it just more cemented it into me knowing what direction I wanted to lead into. And since I was more engaged and wanted to learn more about it, it was even a better experience for me. So did it do more to me than Montclair State? I would say it opened my eyes and definitely gave me a lot of information that I wouldn't have gotten at Montclair, especially if I wanted to focus on footwear. That's what I would say.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. the advantages for me at New Balance was definitely, learning the storytelling aspect, learning materials, learning a little bit of how they do CADing in the industry, and then storytelling, because at the end we had to present to all of New Balance our ideas. A very nerve wracking experience, but I mean, I think it went well, and the experience was nothing but great. While coming out of that, I was able to put that on my resume, and with that on the resume, it definitely gave me a couple more calls than if I didn't have it on my resume. So that was also another advantage of having pencil, that pencil experience. Yeah,
It's a very nice story, man.
yeah.
So
Pretty much.
I just want to ask you, I guess, what what do you? I mean, what is it about footwear design that kind of does it for you? Like what, and specifically within footwear design, what do you tend to gravitate towards, and what is your kind of method of operation like when it comes to like footwear design? Like what do you like? What do you dislike, if anything, and how do you execute designs? Like what do you do?
What I would say is that I like a lot of designs that are new, unique. Uh, I like a lot of athletics.
Okay.
So um, I like basketball. I would say like a lot of people go into it wanting, I mean, I'm not saying a lot of people do this, but a lot of people, can do casual, can do heels, can do boots, can do all that stuff. But I like the athletics and the sports part of it. Uh, Fundamentally because I do sports, and my mindset was that I wanted to design shoes that I can wear eventually, and that I could have like, let's say, my friends wear, and have like a lot of people that I don't know, and even to the point of having like, very top tier athletes wearing it. Um, so that like, but what was your overall?
So your focus is specifically athletic footwear.
I mean, that's what I would want at the
Right.
end it to be.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would like it to be something for
So where do you see your career, like, or at least in the future, kind of? I mean, you see yourself maybe collaborating with, big athletic brands like Adidas, Nike, etc. Or what do where, and also like where are you right now and stuff like that?
So which like where am I right now, or
Sure, yeah, and then where would you
or how I got
in the
here?
future? How you got there,
All
where
right,
you are
so
now, and then where you're gonna be.
so after pencil, and after graduating, I was applying to like a lot of different design firms, and I was able to get an interview with. Oh, a name drop.
We could cut it out.
We can cut it out. But I
Put a bleep on it.
yeah, so we were able to. I was able to get an interview with this design firm in New York City. Very centered around children's shoes, and when my first goal was like literally to just get into the footwear industry, learn as much as I can, and build experience. Because the most important part, I think any job is that you come in with a resume that has experience, because then that just shows the employer that they can like trust you with whatever project they give you, and it's just a more reassuring thing that you should have on your resume. So basically, I got into this company in New York City. I was with them for a year and like a couple months, and they gave me the opportunity to like I designed like a line. I think I designed 2 lines for them or 3, but they gave me the opportunity to fly out to China. Got to go, flew the whole 16 hours over, uh, and was in Putian, and was able to look at the whole design process from sampling. Got to get an outsole made that I designed, so I saw the wood mold process to the final TPR process, um, and was able to do corrections from there, like everything, and it was insane that like I was given this opportunity. I think it was like 4 months, 5 months in, but I really thank the design director over there that entrusted me with this. Just put me into it, and from that, I got that experience, and I was able to put that on my resume. And now, you know, I was at this place for a year, and like sometimes you want to be able to, when you're at a job, you want to like, and you're good, you're happy with it. Sometimes I felt like I learned a lot from this job, but also I wanted to learn more about the athletics and the more adult sizes. And so I applied to other places, and then I got an interview with another firm that happens to be in Jersey. Talked to them, and they gave me the opportunity, and that's where I'm now. Designing various projects, very different structured from what I was with in New York. Now I get like a different project every day. It could vary from athletics, it could be like casual shoes, but it ranges from adults, like sizes that we can all wear, and then to kids.
No name drop.
No name drop.
Of like brands.
No, nah. We shouldn't name drop. No employers.
No employer.
No name dropping employers.
All right.
Current.
Current.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at now. I'm trying to like build, of course, like because like in the footwear and any other industry that you're in, it's very important to grow a lot of experience and like experience for your mind, and so that you are like able to eventually, if you want to ever do for your like make a company for your own self, you have all that experience. And one key thing is always, like I said, the experience, because every single company runs differently, and that's one thing you really have to keep in mind when you're going to all these, when you're like job jumping and stuff like that. I don't know where I was going with this, but
yeah. Anywho, that's a very nice origin story. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
It's a tough question, because I don't know. I would see myself trying to eventually be able to do like side projects for like bigger companies. I would like to see myself doing that. It would be nice to eventually, I don't know, I would say be working at like a place where I will be able to develop concepts, more conceptual ideas, and not like the standard what's gonna be on the shelf, and like because I like to do that as well, but also I want to be more of the conceptual thinker that influences other people
instead of being influenced.
Exactly. Instead of trend what's it called? Like hopping onto the trend. I want to be. I'm not saying that I want to be
set the trend.
I don't want to. I'm not saying I solely want to set the trend, but I want to be part of a creative team that comes up
that
with
pushes the
research
boundaries
and pushes the boundaries. Exactly, and that would be my next goal. Try to like, get into an area that allows me to think more outside the box, and like things that aren't being made but just are conceptually designed so that it eventually, when technology advances, can be made. Stuff like that.
So like a vision.
Yeah, vision. Yeah, that would be something I would want to tackle.
So yeah.
What kind of advice, if any, do you have for maybe aspiring industrial designers or people that are thinking of studying industrial design,
footwear designers,
more specifically like footwear designer, people that have an interest in designing shoes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I would say is to firstly have like projects in your portfolio that showcase first your sketching ability, your rendering ability, and then your storytelling ability. Very, very important stuff that you need. Secondly, if you can, try to look for some experience, because experience is going to help you very hard. Very hard. It's going to help you. No, what I mean to say, it's going to help you a lot when you're looking for a job, because industrial design alone is competitive, but the footwear industry, super hard and super limited with jobs. I mean, is it super limited with jobs? I think it is.
It's very limited with jobs.
It is in a way. And so then the competition is way higher. I feel like it's way higher.
There's so many students for very little jobs.
Because think about it, like I feel like footwear design would be something that would appeal to a lot of people. Like who wouldn't want to be designing the next flagship
for Zion
shoe
Williamson
for whoever?
whatever.
for any like for
I'm
LeBron
sure
James, for
a lot
Kyrie
of
Irving,
people, of
like
course,
that's a
would
goal,
want to do that.
you know.
Yeah.
So like that would be my advice. The portfolios, the internships, and I would say like if you can, be friends, like make your connections because
Right,
that really
network,
helps a
definitely.
lot.
Make your connections outside of school and do your
Yeah.
own research.
Retain those friendships because they might become very valuable.
Super important because like if I didn't have, I also had like I knew someone that worked at my first job, and they were able to like get me right on top of the list and got me the interview. Like, yeah, it was like no, she basically put me on top of the list, and it helped me get the job. So through a connection, I was able to be on top of the list and then showcase what I had to offer, and then it was like, and that's how I got the job. Long story short, grow your connections because there's only so much a school can do besides like teach you teach you a little bit of this or that. But once you graduate, you're on your own. So always keep in mind to like focus very early, at least the beginning of junior year, to build yourself as your own brand.
Start planning ahead of time. Be proactive.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, like once you graduate, it's gonna be super hard, and it's like that's not the time to get proactive. You should be active.
Absolutely, like
from
way
junior
before.
year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember I think it's like going into my 4th year. So because architecture is a 5-year program, so 2 years before I graduated, I was like preparing my like professional. I would call it professional portfolio. Really kind of trying to organize as professionally as possible all of my projects that I wanted to be included in there. But as far as like forming connections, absolutely go for that. You have to start somewhere, so anywhere is fine as long as you have the intent and you follow through and you develop, a foundation to build upon. Don't be afraid to apply. I would say don't be afraid to apply to a company that you may not have a connection with.
You apply to everything.
As far as I'm concerned, my current place that I'm working at, which I'm very happy. I'm not going to drop any names, but I'm very happy there. And it's a great job, very rewarding.
Secure the bag.
I didn't have a single connection at that company.
Who are your references for that job?
Hey yo, I'm sitting next to one of them.
I guess that's another story to tell.
That'll be in a future episode.
Yeah.
But and we can go more in depth in terms of like, we kind of covered it a little bit in this episode, like the interview process and tips and stuff like that. But to keep it short, I went through 2 in-person interviews and a phone interview before they finally gave me the offer of employment. Basically took about 2.5 months total. So it was basically a summer-long process. And I think it worked out pretty well, to be honest, because I graduated mid-May. I basically had the whole summer to kind of enjoy myself. I started working after Labor Day. So right around when people were get back to school, I was starting my new job. So it kind of worked out perfectly for me. That's not going to be the case for everyone, of course, but
it's hard.
Definitely. I didn't have any connections at that company, so don't be afraid if you don't have connections. Of course, it is very important to, if you can make connections, to make connections. I feel like I should look at the camera. So I mean, build those connections, build yourself, build your relationship with others. And
I would say the most experience that you'll learn, I feel, is from your internships. Like, because that's the real world. That's what you're gonna go into.
Absolutely.
So like that experience is gonna come in handy, and
you'll learn like on the job as you go along. Don't be afraid if you don't know something. In my first 6 months of my professional career, I feel like I've learned a lot about like just architecture as a legal business entity, like a company, and what goes into the whole process and all that.
And that he wouldn't have learned. Yeah, he wouldn't have learned that.
You won't learn that. You'll never learn that in a classroom setting. And I'm sure that also goes for industrial design. There's going to be a lot of things that you'll never learn in a classroom setting because the classroom is not the place to learn it. The workplace is the place to learn it. So.
Wrapping it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. It's been a very informative podcast.
I feel like this episode was pretty good in terms of us kind of discussing our professional developments and more specifically with Oscar in terms of his background, his blueprint, and just all of us kind of giving our inputs into what it takes to kind of take that dive into the professional world, make the transition from student to young professional. So.
And this time, we're on water, so we're
I
gonna have a
know.
nice
Clean it
Tuesday.
up a little bit.
Clean it up.
We don't have alcohol at the moment, and
Yeah,
it's kind of.
So we could end with ending.
You know what's gonna suck?
Yeah.
That slap editing it out that you just did, and mastering this whole vocal. The whole vocals for because each one of our games are like completely different from each other.
But you
There's-
have the games.
Okay, I do, but like I wasn't paying attention to it, and it's all messed up. So I'm gonna try to
Bear with us while
master it.
we
Okay.
work.
We're getting
Quality.
our shit together. We're
So
getting
thank-
our shit together.
So thank you
Yep.
guys for watching. Make sure to follow us
listening.
at Creators Blueprint on Instagram. And also, if you type in Creators Blueprint on YouTube, you'll find us there. And we're also trying to be on Podbean, that puts us on all these streaming
and
places.
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
No, I don't know.
We're still in
how to start.
negotiations with them.
Yeah, we're in negotiations.
Title.
No titles right
Jay-Z
now.
didn't answer.
Jay-Z's not answering
He
right
didn't
now.
answer us. He didn't answer us.
Let's do shout outs. No, I'm not
Shout
gonna
out
do
season. Shout out season.
shout out
We want to
to
give
my
a shout out
dogs.
to our followers. We don't have a lot of followers now.
All 12 of them so far.
We got 34 views. Trying to make it to 50 on this one.
We'll see. And thank you guys.
You guys want to plug in your Instagram?
We'll put it down below.
Okay, our
In the down below.
Down below.
Make sure you smash
On
that
the
subscribe
description.
button.
Smash that like button
Like
and
button.
thank you
Smash
guys.
Leave a comment, whatever you want.
Thank you.
Stay
That's
tuned for more.
All right, guys. Take care. Stay
Take
going and
care,
no to
guys.
drugs.
Peace. Whoa.